Hello and welcome to 2016. My name is Brad Teal and my company Brad Teal Real Estate had a wonderful 2015 and we look forward to a very buoyant 2016 in the property market. A snapshot of the market across all capital cities. We've seen growth right across the board, but in particular, Melbourne grew at 11%, Sydney 10.5%. Move over Sydney, here is Melbourne. We've seen over the last 3 months 1.5% growth in November, a flattish December and 0.9% in January. The RBA meets in February now to decide on what happens with interest rates, and it's always a hot topic. What's going on with interest rates? How will it affect my home loan, my investment loan? Well, quite frankly, we expect, and according to reading all of the economist reports over the recent weeks and reading newspapers, looking at the TV and listening to the radio, it's expected that over the next few months interest rates should remain pretty flat, giving consideration to world economic circumstances. So we expect a relatively flat regime of interest rates for the year, and if you can lock in interest rates over the longer term, that certainly a portion of your loan would be a good business decision, because ultimately the cycle would suggest that in the end they must rise eventually. Now, the screensaver that you'll be looking at right now will show all of the property trends over the last few months. We've seen Essendon dominate that with a growth to over $1.3 million as a median price. You'll also see the volume of turnover in each of those suburbs for sales across all agents for the month of January. A bit quieter January than normal, but then October, November, December was very, very buoyant and didn't leave much stock left in the marketplace to actually sell in January. We have seen good stock levels coming into the market now for a very buoyant Feb-March as people try to get in before a very early Easter, late 20s I think it is, in March is when Easter starts. So an earlier Easter has seen a bit more stock come on the market to try and get in before Easter in 2016. The other important thing to take out of that screen is the fact that Brunswick and Ascot Vale are once again $995,000 and $925,000 as median price, pushing very, very heavily up towards the $1 million mark. So we'll have more and more $1 million suburbs on this side of town. Brunswick and Ascot Vale both similarly on the same arc, same distance from the GPO in the city, so that's why they have a common link in regard to their median price values. In regard to rentals, we continue on with a very buoyant month. As I said, 90 properties let in January. Good numbers across all offices, 40 through a 3-bedroom townhouse at an open time in Brunswick last week. So the demand for inner city property in particular is high, and the newer stock is seemingly more appealing than older homes. So where you've bought a large block of land and you've got an old double-fronted weatherboard that in a couple of years that you will intend to maybe build a couple of units on, we're finding those a bit slow as people don't want the older carpets, older stove, older heating, older bigger gardens. People are looking for sharp, modern, light and bright, on the train, on the tram, on the bus, close to lots of cafes, walk around the river, close to a lot of schools. So they are the most important ingredients when you're buying an investment property to consider. Just a bit of comment on new market trends. We've seen the popularity of townhouses down in Ascot Vale, over in Edgewater, up in Maribyrnong. Most of the developments that are going up that are really popular are with townhouses, 2 and 3 stories. Some have single garages, a lot have double because they're over the 6 or 6.5 metre in width, but they're providing that light and space and livability that people are after. Many of the larger infill sites are going this way rather than apartments. The bigger sites along the main arterial roads on Sydney Road, Melville Road has some, Mount Alexander Road, there's a fair bit happening down in Union Road, bigger developments in these hot spots of cafes and local shops, but it's the popularity of townhouses that is seeing us really struggling to fill the demand by purchasers. So bear that in mind when you're having a look. Domain has a lot to look at on new trends and why they're so popular, and all around the country as well. So it's not just the local market that is seeing the demand for townhouses, it's Melbourne and Australia-wide. A final wrap up, we hope you've enjoyed our market snapshot. 2016 we hope is a buoyant year for you and for us, and should you have any real estate inquiries, 10 offices through the northwest of Melbourne, surely there's one close where you can just walk in and we'll handle your inquiry with the aplomb that I know my staff will do.